Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the problem solving session on CET and Comet K. So, those who have joined in the session, I would request you to type in your names in the chat box so that I know who all are attending this session. Good afternoon, Saundarya. So, those who are watching in this session, I would request you to type in your names in the chat box. And let me also tell you that this session would be on CET and Comet level problems. So, there would be no JEE main level of problem solved over here. That means it should not take you more than a minute to solve each of the problems that I'll be going to project on the screen before you. So altogether there would be 60 problems, and it would be our effort to actually discuss it within the next 3 hours. Okay, so here is the first question in front of you. So put your timers on and let's start solving questions. So tan of x plus y is equal to 33, and x is given to you as tan inverse of 3. We need to find out what is our y. Okay, so I've started getting the response. So option 4 is what people are saying here. So it's a very easy question. Again, all these questions are actually easy. It's just a test of your speed. So your y is going to be tan inverse of 33 minus tan inverse of 3. Okay, and we are going to use the formula x tan inverse x minus y by 1 plus xy. So that's going to be tan inverse of 30 by 100. That's going to be tan inverse of 3 by 10. Absolutely correct. So the first one to answer this correctly, Vaishnavi, good one. Okay. Moving on to the next question now. Yeah. Limit x tending to infinity under root of x square a square plus bx plus x and minus of ax. So let me name these questions so that you can type your response by stating the question number. So this is your second question. 1 minute is the time that you should be taking to solve such questions, not more than that. All right. I need 2 more responses. Ritik, Sanjana, Saundarya, what do you think? So this is basically infinity minus infinity form of a problem, right? And for such cases, the first step that we follow is the step of rationalization. Okay, so Ganesh thinks something else. All right, so let's just discuss this. So if you rationalize this, you will have a square x square plus bx plus x minus a square x square whole divided by a square x square plus bx plus x plus ax. Okay, and you'll cancel off the highest degree term from the numerator, that is x square term. So it will be as good as b plus 1 times x. Okay, and we can take an x common in the denominator as well. That would give us a square and b plus 1 by x and an a over here. So this x and this x will get cancelled. And as the limit x tends to infinity, we know that terms like 1 by x etc. will start approaching 0. So this term will vanish over here, leaving us with the answer of b plus 1 by a plus a. That's b plus 1 by 2a. And therefore, option number 1 becomes the right option. And the first one to get this correct was again Vaishnavi. Okay. Ritvik, Sanjana, please check your working. I'm sure you must have done some silly mistakes here and there. So this was a pretty straightforward question. So without much waste of time, I'm taking you now to the third question for the day. A simple inequality question. Guys, let me tell you, exams like Comet K and CET are super simple exams. It's just testing your speed. Concept-wise, it's a very simple exam. Let me tell you, exams like Comet K and CET are super simple exams. Okay. 2, 2, 2. Okay, mostly people are going for option 2. Again, this reminds you of your class 11th concept, that is inequality. So first we'll make the half come on the other side. Okay, always take the LCM. So 12x minus 4x plus 1 less than 0. That's going to be 8x plus 1 by 4x minus 1 less than 0. Remember 2 you can always send on the other side because we know 2 is positive. And if you plot this on the real number line, you get minus 1/8 and 1/4. So according to the wavy curve sign scheme, this will be plus, minus, plus. And for your answer to be negative, it has to be in this interval. So it has to be minus 1/8 to 1/4, exclusive of minus 1/8 and 1/4. So option number 2 is correct. I think Saundarya was the first one to get this correct. Well done. Good. So without much waste of time, I'll take you to the fourth question for the day. If I is a square matrix, we all know that it is a rotation matrix for us. And A transpose plus A is I2. I2 is an identity matrix of order 2. Then which of the following option is correct? Okay, Vaishnavi says third. Ritvik also says third. One more response I need. Awesome. So let's discuss this. So A transpose into A, we can do this mentally, but just to make things clear, I would write it down. So A transpose plus A would be this two matrices. And when you add them, you are going to get 2 cos theta 0 0 2 cos theta, and this is equated to an identity matrix which is 1 0 0 1. That means cos of theta is going to be half. So if you write the general solution, we know that cos theta equal to cos alpha. The general solution is theta equal to 2n pi plus minus alpha and belonging to integer. So in this case, it will be 2n pi plus minus pi by 3 and belonging to an integer. Okay. So of course, option number 3 becomes the right option in this case. Again, the fastest of you was Vaishnavi again. I'm saying fastest of you because this is just a test of your speed, nothing else. Next, if A and B are two matrices such that AB is equal to A and BA is equal to B, then B square is equal to which of the following options? This is your question number 5 for the day. Again, I'm repeating this. This session is helpful to those students who would be taking up even CET and Comet K exams. We are not going to take up any JEE main level question here. All right, so I'm getting response from Vaishnavi, Sanjana, Ritvik, Saundarya, and others who are attending this session but haven't typed in your names. I would request you to respond. Okay, so let's start with the fact that BA is equal to B. Okay, and when you multiply this with B post facto, I get B A B is equal to B square. And we know that matrix multiplication is associative, so it becomes this. And since we know that AB itself is A, I can write this as A itself, so it becomes BA is equal to B square. And BA again is B, so it becomes B square. So B square is equal to B. And that's what we wanted to find out. So option number 1 becomes the right option in this case. Absolutely correct. Again, Vaishnavi was the first one to answer this. Let's move on to the next one. Given 5 line segments of lengths 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 units, then the number of triangles that can be formed by joining these segments is. So you have to tell me how many triangles are possible with these segments as the length of the sides. This is your question number 6, by the way. So if you are typing in your response, please mention this question number. Sixth, 41. Okay. First option, as per Saundarya. Vaishnavi also says first option. What about Sanjana, Ritvik? Guys, please respond. Okay, first of all, it is clear that 5C3 will appear in one of your answers because you are choosing 3 from 5. So that's 5C3, obviously. Now, these minus signify which of the cases cannot form a triangle. So as per my calculation, I can never form a triangle with this combination, right? No triangle is possible. Neither can I form a triangle with this combination for the simple reason that the sum of the two sides of a triangle must always be greater than the third. Neither can I form a triangle with 2, 4, 6 as well, right? Right? Now, any other case that you take, you will actually find a triangle with that side. So these three cases must be removed. So your answer is going to be 5C3 minus 3. That's option number 1 is going to be correct. So the first one to answer this correctly was Saundarya. Great. So now let's move on to the next one. That's question number 7 for the day. So guys, you all are maintaining a good speed. It's already 15 minutes down the session and we are into the 7th question. So roughly, including your time and my time, we are taking around 1 minute to solve it. That's what is expected from this session. How many numbers greater than 10 followed by 6 zeros, that's actually 1 million, can be formed from 2303423? Okay, Vaishnavi. Need 2 more response. Okay. Ritvik, Saundarya. All right. So it's very obvious that if this is going to form numbers, you have to use all the 7 digits, right? And the only possibility you can end up a number getting being less than 1 million if you are using all the 7 digits is when your number is beginning with 0. Correct? So if a number begins with 0, then that number would be lesser than 1 million. Correct? So how many numbers are there which will be lesser than the given digit? Okay, let's say lesser than 1 million. So you have to exclude 0 and see how many digits are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits are there. Out of that, I think 3 is repeated thrice, so 3 factorial. 2 is repeated twice, so 2 factorial. Okay, and the total number of numbers that you can form by using all the 7 digits will be 7 factorial by 2 factorial, 3 factorial. Correct? So your answer will be the latter minus the former. So 7 factorial minus 6 factorial can be written as 6 factorial into 6, and you have 2 and this is 6 again, so that is going to be 360. That's your option number 2 is going to be the right option in this case. Well done, Vaishnavi. Again, the first one to answer this. So with this, we'll move on to the 8th question for the day. I think with this rate, if we go on, we'll be able to finish our class today in 2 hours. Well done. I can see very good speed coming from few of you. In fact, some of you. So let's read this 8th question. An urn contains 9 balls, 2 of which are white, 3 blue and 4 black. 3 balls are drawn from the urn. The chance that 2 will be of the same color and the third of a different color. So basically, we have to find the probability that 2 balls are of the same color and the third one is of a different color. Okay, Vaishnavi. How about others? Okay. Fine, you change your answer, no problem. Ganesh, Sanjana, Saundarya. Okay. All right. So let's discuss this now. First of all, how many equally likely cases would be there? That means how many elements would be there in the sample space. That means it is as good as drawing 3 balls from 9 balls, which is 9C3, which is going to be 9 into 8 into 7 by 6. That's going to be 84. So this would be in your denominator. I think all of them have 84 in the denominator. Now let's take cases. Let's say I choose to draw 2 white and 1 black. Let's say blue. Or it can be 2 white, 1 black. So this would be nothing but 2C2 into 3C1 plus 2C2 into 4C1. In a similar way, I can have 2 blue, 1 white, or 2 blue, 1 black. Okay, so 2 blue will be 3C2 into 1 white will be 2C1 plus again 3C2, 1 black will be 4C1. And the last case is, let's say I pick up 2 black, 1 white, or 2 black, 1 blue? So 2 black I can get in 4C2, 1 white I can get in 2C1, again 4C2 into 3C1. So let's add all the cases over here. This is going to give me 1 into 3, 3. 3 plus 4 is going to be 7. This is going to be 3, 6. 6 and 12 is going to be 18. And here I get 12. 12 plus 18 is going to be 30. And altogether, if you add them, I think you should be getting 55. That means 55 upon 84 is the desired probability. So 55 upon 84 is going to be your option number 2. And again, the first one to answer this was Vaishnavi. Let's move on to the 9th question for the day. So this is your 9th question. So the question reads, 6 boys and 6 girls sit in a row at random. The probability that all the girls sit together. Guys, it's all about speed, but remember one thing, it's equally important that you get the right answers, though there's no negative marks, but your aim should always be to score very, very high in these exams. Okay, Saundarya goes for the third option. How about others? I'm sure you must be taking some time doing the calculation because the concept is very easy. Sanjana, Ritvik, Vaishnavi, come on, guys. Sorry, we have spent around 2 minutes on this. So if you want all the girls to sit together, we have to use the string method where we tie all the girls and treat them as one entity. So 6 plus 1, there will be 7 entities and they can be arranged in 7 factorial, right? But the girls themselves can sit in 6 factorial ways, right? So please remember this would be the number of favorable events. The sample space, as you would all know, it's going to be 12 factorial. That's a simple way of arranging 12 people among themselves. So the probability would be nothing but 7 factorial times 6 factorial by 12 factorial. 12 factorial, let's write after 7 factorial, that's 8 into 9 into 10 into 11 into 12. And 7 factorial, let's cancel it off. 720 is the value of 6 factorial. So 720 would be obtained by the first 3 terms itself. So your answer will be 1 by 11 into 12. That's 1 by 132. That makes the third option as the right option. Absolutely. So Saundarya was the first one to answer this. Guys, many people may forget the internal or intra arrangement of the girls. So this is important. Please do not miss out on this. So with this, we move on to the 10th question. Remember, we have to finish up 60 questions today. Three dice, in fact, this is not a right English. Three dice are rolled once. The chance of getting a score of 5 is. The chance of getting a score of 5 is. Okay. Hey Saimir, good afternoon. I think you joined just now. All right, Sanjana. I need one more response before I start solving this. Guys, it's just speed, nothing else. Great. So you can get a sum of 5 only when you have the numbers on the dice as 311 or various permutation of this, which is going to be actually 3 factorial by 2 factorial, because you can have 131, 113 as well. Or you could have a 2 to 1 case. Again, that would be 3 factorial by 2 factorial. That's again 3. So total number of favorable events will be 3 plus 3. That's going to be 6. And we know that the sample space would be 6 cube because each die will show you 6 outputs. So 6 into 6 into 6 by fundamental principle of multiplication. So your probability of the required event would be 6 upon 6 cube. That's 1 by 36. Option number 3 is going to be the right option in this case. Since these events are countable, I would request you not to waste your time using multinomial theorems to solve these kind of problems. That would be an overkill. So well done. Saimir was the first one to get this right. Let's move on to the 11th question for the day. Again, a question from probability. I think back to back we have got questions from probability. A bag contains 3 white, 4 black, 2 red. If 2 balls are drawn at random, find the probability that both the balls are white. This is just a 5-second question. Absolutely. So that's going to be just 3C2 by 9C2. Okay. So that's going to be 3 by 9 into 8 and 2 will go up. So 6 and this is going to be 12. 1 by 12 is going to be the answer. So option number 3 is going to be the right option. The CT question. Is that fine? Great. So the first one to get this correct was Saundarya. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 12. If two sets A and B have 99 elements in common, then the number of elements common to the sets A cross B and B cross A. Okay, Vaishnavi says option 1, Saundarya says option 2. How about others? Ritvik, Saimir, Sanjana? Okay, let's discuss this now. So this property is basically that this property is based on this question is based on the property that A cross B intersection C cross D is nothing but it's A intersection C cross B intersection D. Okay, and if you take your C to be B and D to be A, okay, then can I say A cross B intersection C cross D would be nothing but A intersection B cross B intersection A. That means the number of elements common to A cross B and C cross D would be the number of elements in A intersection B cross B intersection A. And we know that the number of elements in X cross Y is nothing but the number of elements in X times the number of elements in Y. That's going to give you the number of elements in A intersection B times the number of elements in B intersection A, which happens to be 99 in both of them because A intersection B is equal to B intersection A. So your answer is going to be 99 square. That's option number 2, which is going to be correct. Okay, Vaishnavi, is that fine? Okay. So we'll move on to the next one. If f of x is e to the power x and g of x is ln of e to the power x, this is your question number 13, then which of the following is true? Okay. One more response I need. All right, so let's discuss this. So as per the options, I have to first find f of g and g of f. So f of g would be f of g of x would be e to the power log of e to the power x. That's going to be e to the power x itself. And g of f of x would be log of e to the power x, which is actually, again, you can take this down in front of this. So it will be e to the power x log of e, which is e to the power x again. And yes, they're equal. So option number 2 becomes the right option in this case. Well done. The first one to answer this again, Sai. Next is your question number 14. The number of bijective functions from set A to A, where A contains 108 elements. So how many bijective functions are there from A to A? Bijective means both 1, 1 and onto. This should be pretty simple. It's just touch and go. Absolutely, absolutely. We know that if a set contains n elements, the number of one functions that we can make is n factorial, right? And in order to be bijective, both the sets should have same elements, same number of elements, which is actually happening in this case. So your answer will be just n factorial. So it's option number 2, which is going to be correct. These are just touch and go questions. Let's say if you lose out time in some question, these are the ones which will give you the cover up so that you can, spend some decent amount of time in slightly difficult questions. Next, let's talk about question number 20 now. Sorry, question number 15 now. If phi is equal to mod of cos x plus mod of sin x, then find the value of dy by dx at 2 pi by 3. Tomorrow we'll be having a session on JEE main problem solving. And again, it will be a mixed bag topic. Okay, Vaishnavi says 1, but Saim here says 3. So I'm getting different answers, surprisingly. Anybody else who can break this tie? Either it's 1 or it's 3. So I need one more response. Okay, so Ritvik backs his friend, Sai. So guys, whenever you are met with such a situation where you have a mod function, always see where you are actually performing the derivative. This will help us to redefine the function. So at 2 pi by 3, you know that cos is going to be negative, right? So in the neighborhood of 2 pi by 3, this function is going to behave as negative cos x plus sin x, right? Because cos is a negative quantity there and sin is a positive quantity here. So just find dy by dx for this expression, which is going to be sin x plus cos x, and put the value of x as 2 pi by 3. That's going to give you root 3 by 2 minus half. So it's root 3 minus 1 by 2. That's going to be the right answer. So yes, option number 3 is going to be correct. Right? Again, be careful. I'm repeating this. Whenever you're trying to find the derivative of mod function, redefine the mod function in the neighborhood of the point where you're carrying out that differentiation, and then finally perform the derivative of that redefined function, and then put the limits and then put the value of x. Okay. So Vaishnavis, be careful with these questions. They are easy, but sometimes can be deceiving. Okay, so let's take the next question, which is question number 16. If A, B, C are in AP, then the value of the determinant is. All right, so I'm getting a response as one. So basically, here all I have to do is do R2 as you can do R2 as 2R2 first of all, okay, and multiply with a half, and then do this operation R2 as R2 minus R1 plus R3, or you can directly not do this operation and just say this R2 as R2 minus R1 plus R3 by 2. So that will lead to 0, 0, 0 in the second row. Okay, giving you the answer as 0. So option number 1 is going to be correct. Next is question number 17.
अरे खड़े हो गए तो विदा करने के मेरे बाइक की चाबी वो ऑफिस की चाबी नहीं लगी हुई है, दे रहा हूँ। अच्छा हुआ लोगों की कार आती चाबी नहीं है मेरे पास। खुश रहना। हाँ सही मर रहा है। कुछ भी नहीं मेरा, मैंने मैकबुक सर के यहाँ रख दिया, मेरा लैपटॉप लेके रखा हूँ। कुछ क्या था कुछ भी नहीं, पक्का मेरा कुछ है तो नहीं यहाँ पे। हाँ बिल वगैरह इसमें है पूरा, ठीक है ना, आ दे रहा हूँ।
Okay. So determinant of adjoint of A, we all know that determinant of adjoint of A is related to determinant of A by the formula determinant A to the power n minus 1, n being the order of the matrix A. So in this case, it would be, first of all, determinant of A itself would be A cube. In a diagonal matrix, we just multiply all the elements in the diagonal. So this will be A cube raised to the power of 3 minus 1. That's going to be A to the power 6. So option number 3, of course, becomes the right option. And again, Sai is the first one to answer this correctly. Well done, Sai. Next is the differential equation of the family of parabolas y square is equal to 4ax, where a is a parameter. So this is your question number 18. Done? So mostly people are with option number 1. So let's quickly do that. A is a parameter, so we need to get rid of A. So it's very obvious that if you differentiate it once with respect to x, we get 4a, correct? So we just have to replace it back over here. So y square will be 4ax. 4ax will be 2xy dy by dx. So you can cancel off 1y. So y by 2x is equal to dy by dx would be your required differential equation. That's option number 1 is correct. Absolutely. So the first one to answer this again is Sai. All simple questions is just a matter of speed. So we'll now talk about the next one, which is question number 19. Okay. So this is a clear-cut case of a homogeneous differential equation. So since I can see terms like y by x appearing everywhere, okay, you can write it as y by x plus tan of y by x. We can take our y to be vx. So dy by dx is going to be v plus x dv by dx. So when we replace over here, we get x dv by dx plus v is equal to v plus tan v. V and v gets cancelled. So this becomes dx by x is equal to dv by tan v. Okay, tan v is nothing but cot v, and the integral of this is going to be ln x is equal to ln of sin x. Okay, and you can add a factor of c as ln c over here. So ln of cx is ln of sine y by x. So that implies sine y by x is going to be cx. So option number 2 is going to be the right option. And the first one to answer this was Vaishnavi. Very good. So we have a lot of grounds to cover. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 20. The general solution of the differential equation dy by dx plus y times g dash x is equal to g dash x times gx, where g is a given function of x, is which of the following options? Okay. So Sanjana thinks something else. Okay. So let's discuss this. So it's the clear-cut case of a linear differential equation. And in this case, our integrating factor is going to be e to the power integral of g dash x, right? That's going to be e to the power g of x. So it becomes y into e to the power g of x is equal to integral of e to the power g of x times g of x g dash x. Okay? So if I take g of x be, let's say, t, so I can say g dash x dx will be dt. So the right hand side part I can write it as integral of e to the power t into t dt. Okay. So I can apply integration by parts, treating this as my second function, treating this as my first function. So that's going to be t times e to the power t minus e to the power t plus c. So this is going to be y times e to the power g of x. So rephrasing it, so y times e to the power g of x is e to the power g of x minus 1 plus c. Okay, so let me bring every term to the so they want, yeah, every term to the one side. So let's bring every term to one side. So e to the power g of x times y plus 1 minus g of x is equal to c. If you take log, so it becomes g of x plus log of y plus 1 minus g of x is equal to log c, which is another c. And I can clearly see that option number 2 is going to be the right answer in this case. So option 2 is the right option. And I think the first one to get this correct was, guys, can you see the screen? Yeah, the first one to get this correct was Sanjana. Sanjana is the only one who can get this correct. So option number 2 is going to be the right answer. Well done, Sanjana. So some questions may surprise you. So don't worry about that. Let's say if it takes more than 1 minute also, so don't get disheartened because you have already saved a couple of minutes in some of the questions. For example, this is one of the questions which can save you a lot of time. By the way, there's a small typo here. This is plus sign over here. The question is the product of the degree and order of this differential equation. The product of the degree and order of this differential equation is. Question number 21. Right, it has to be 4 because order is also 2, degree is also 2. So the product is going to be 4. Option number 1 is going to be correct. So such questions which take around hardly 3 or 4 seconds can be used to balance those questions which are taking you more than a minute time. Next, integral of x to the power 27 times cos x plus e to the power x from -1 to 1. Again, I don't think so this question is more than 30 seconds worth. Question number 22. Okay. Awesome. So now you see that whenever your limits are negative, the integral of odd terms becomes 0, right? So this is an odd term for us, so it will become 0. So it just converts it to this, right? Which is e to the power x itself from 1 to -1. So it's e negative of e to the power -1. So e minus 1 by e, which makes the option number 3 the right option. Pretty simple question, guys. Do not waste integrating -1 to 1 x to the power 27 cos x, because this answer is going to be 0 because it's an odd function. All right, so we'll move on to the 23rd one now. The value of this integral. Okay, so I'm getting two different answers from Sai and Vaishnavi. So let this be I. So according to King's property, I can write this as this. 2n being an even number, it will not affect any of the sign terms. Okay, this is by the use of King's property. Okay, let's add these two i's. So when I add these two i's, I will get pi times 0 to pi sine to the power 2nx by sine to the power 2nx plus cos to the power of 2nx dx. And now we can do one thing. I can half the limit, because let's say I treat this as my function f of x. F of x and f of pi minus x are same. So I can half this and make this 2. So this and this goes off. Okay. Again, if I use my King's property, I can write the same expression as 0 to pi by 2 cos to the power 2nx by cos to the power 2nx plus sine to the power 2nx. Okay. Adding up these two will give me 2y is equal to pi 0 to pi by 2 of 1 dx. So 2i is equal to pi times. This is going to give you pi by 2. So I is going to be pi square by 4. Okay, so option number 3 is the right option in this case. Option number 3 becomes the right option in this case. So Sai has got the right answer in this case. And I was slightly surprised because nobody else has responded to this. Was this a difficult question? By no means. Okay, so we have to use our King's property twice. So here also I have made use of the King's property. We'll now move on to the 24th question. Integral of x cube minus 1 by x cube plus x. Guys, it's all about speed. I don't think so this is a difficult concept at all. Okay. So mostly people are going for option 2. Okay, so let's discuss this. I can write this integral as x cube plus x minus x minus 1 by x cube plus x, right? So this gives me 1 minus 1 plus x by x cube plus x integral with respect to x. Okay, so this one will integrate to x, no doubt about that. And let's spend some time integrating x cube plus x, this term. Now here, I can again split this as integral of x by x cube plus x and integral of 1 by x cube plus x. Okay, so let's split this as two separate integrals. So here x will get cancelled. So I will have 1 by x square plus 1 dx. And here I can make use of here I can make use of partial fractions, correct? So here I can write this as x into x square plus 1. So at least I would generate a tan inverse x. Okay, so let me save my time and see if I could find an expression with x and negative tan inverse x. And I think most of them have the same combination. So this is not going to help me out. So I'm going to work on this expression. So I can write that as 1 by x, and I don't need to actually go into complete partial fraction because by observation also we can split it up like this, right? I just have to get x square cancelled off. Okay, so this term is going to be integral of this. So integral of 1 by x, x square plus 1 is just going to be integral of this term. That's going to be ln of x minus half ln of x square plus 1. Okay, so my complete answer would look somewhat like this: x minus tan inverse x minus ln x plus half ln x square plus 1, which clearly is option number 2. So 2 is the right option in this case. So let me see who is the first one to answer this. The first one to answer this correctly was Vaishnavi again. Well done. Very good. Is that fine? Again, I would categorize this problem as a time consuming problem. So we need to compensate for these lost time by the easier ones. 25th question. If integral of 8 cos 8x plus 1 over tan 2x minus cot 2x is 8 cos 8x plus c, find the value of a. Find the value of a. Okay. All right. So let's discuss this. So the common sense is that I'm not going to find the value of a by integrating this. Actually, I'm going to take a shorter route. I'm going to differentiate both sides. So this will give me this, okay? And on this side, I'll get minus 8a sine of 8x. Let's use some shorter tricks. Cos 8x plus 1 is going to be 2 cos square 4x. And here I'll get tan 2x minus 1 by tan 2x. And this side also I can write it as 8 times 2 sine 4x cos 4x. So cos 4x and 1 cos 4x will be gone. This will become tan 2x into cos 4x by tan square 2x minus 1. That's minus 8a into 2 sine 4x. Correct? Now if you see this term carefully, this term is actually negative tan 4x. Right? This term here is negative tan 4x. So negative tan 4x and cos 4x will give you negative sine 4x. Right? And on this side we have negative 16a sine 4x. So sine 4x is gone. Negative sign can be dropped. And thereby a is going to be 1 by 16. That's option number 3 that is correct. Okay? Right. So the first one to get this answer correct was most of you have actually changed your answer. Right, Ritik. It's option number 3 that's correct. Be careful. Speed sometimes kills. Okay. Next. Question number 26 for the day. If integral of x times f of sine x from 0 to pi is a times integral 0 to pi by 2 f of sine x, then find the value of a. A here is a constant. जैसे कि ये सही तरीका नहीं है और एक पेन से मार्क कर सिर्फ केमिस्ट्री स्टेपल कर लो. Okay, so mostly people are going for 4. This is a very simple problem. You just have to, let's say, 0 to pi x sine f of sine x. You just have to apply King's property. So that becomes 0 to pi minus x f of sine x only. Okay. Now this can be written as pi 0 to pi f sine x dx minus 0 to pi So bring it on this side. It becomes 2 times 0 to pi x times f of sine x is pi 0 to pi f of sine x. Now you want the interval to be half, so put a half and 2 here because you can do that because this function will not change. 2 factor drops. So this now becomes your a, which is going to be pi. So option number 4 is the right option. Well done. Sai was the first one to get this correct. So we'll move on to the 27th question. Okay. Sai and Vaishnavi both go for option number 3. What about others? Okay, so let's discuss this. I can write this as tan inverse of pi by 2 minus tan inverse of 21. This I can write it as pi by 2 minus tan inverse of 13. And this I can write it as pi by 2 minus tan inverse of negative 8. Right? So this becomes plus over here. You can drop this and make a plus sign over here. Okay. So we have 3 pi by 2 minus tan inverse of 21 plus tan inverse of 13 minus tan inverse of 8. Is that fine? Now, we all know that tan inverse of x plus tan inverse of y. If x and y both are positive and xy is greater than 1, we follow the formula of pi plus tan inverse x plus y by 1 minus xy. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll apply the same to these two. Right? So 3 pi by 2 minus pi plus tan inverse of this will become 34 by 21 times 13 is going to be 63, 21, 273 minus 272. Okay. And I think that's going to be negative 1 by 8. That's going to be negative 1 by 8. Okay. And we already have tan inverse 8 waiting over here. When you open the bracket, it becomes negative pi by 2, negative tan inverse 1 by 8. Okay. And negative tan inverse 8. Right? Okay. So I can write this as minus cot inverse 8. And again, there's a minus tan inverse 8. So you can take a minus sign common. This will become pi by 2 again. So if I'm not mistaken, your answer should come out to be minus pi by 2 minus pi by 2. Let's check our working if everything is fine. So this I wrote it as pi by 2 minus tan inverse 21. That's absolutely correct. This I wrote as pi by 2 minus tan inverse 13. That's absolutely correct. This is pi by 2 minus tan inverse negative 8. So that becomes pi by 2 plus tan inverse 8. Let me just clarify this. Pi minus tan inverse cot inverse of this and pi by 2 and pi by 2 minus. Yeah, so that's absolutely correct. So pi by 2 will combine to give you 3 pi by 2, and I just took care of this and I use the formula tan inverse x plus tan inverse y is pi plus tan inverse x minus y by 1 minus xy. So this will give me minus 1 by 8. And if I open the brackets, I get negative pi by 2. Oh, my bad. That's positive pi by 2. That's positive pi by 2. Because none of these is a very rare chance that it should appear as your answer. So my mistake. So answer here is going to be 0, my dear friends. So option 1 is going to be correct. Right, and many of you have claimed the answer to be pi, which is slightly alarming to me because then you are not out of your school mode. This formula has to be used. I think many of you are still continuing with the school mode that tan inverse x plus tan inverse y is always tan inverse x plus y by 1 minus xy. So please revisit the formulas. Revisit the formulas. This is a mistake which many people would make. Okay. That formula which you have learnt in school works only when your xy is less than 1. In this case, my x into y was absolutely greater than 1, and hence the school formula does not work in that case. Is that fine? It happens. It happens. Since you're all out of the board exams, it is a natural tendency to take these formulas slightly lightly. So this was an eye opener. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next one. Again from inverse trig. This is your question number 28. Okay. All right. So people are going for option number 4. Let's check this out. So first of all, I need to convert these cos inverses and sine inverses to tan inverse, right? So for that, I will quickly make use of the reference triangle. So let's say this angle is theta and I take this as theta. So this will be 1. This will be 5 root 2, right? So this obviously would be 7, right? So theta is nothing but tan inverse 7. Let this angle be phi. Okay. And again, I'll make use of a reference triangle with this as phi. So 4 by root 17. So this has to be 1. So phi is going to be tan inverse of 4. Okay. So it's tan of tan inverse 7 minus tan inverse 4. So that's going to be tan of. Now, again, remember your formulas correctly. That's most important part in inverse trigonometry. Tan inverse x minus tan inverse y. You can write this as tan inverse x minus y by 1 plus xy only when your xy is greater than minus 1. Only when your xy is greater than minus 1, which happens in this case because 28 is greater than minus 1. So I can use 7 minus 4 by 1 plus 28, and that's going to give you 3 by 29. That's option number 4. That's going to be correct. Absolutely. So the first one to get this correct is Sai Mir, right? So let's move on to the 29th question. Hello. Okay. Sai says 3, while Saundarya and Ritvik are of the opinion that it's going to be 2. Okay, so this is pretty simple. So basically, you have to do just 1 cube, 2 cube, all the way till 20 cube minus 1 cube, 2 cube, all the way till 10 cube. Okay, so that's going to be n into n plus 1 by 2. So this is going to be 20 into 21 by 2 whole cube. And this is going to be 10 into 11 by 2 whole cube. So this is going to be, sorry, not whole square. Yeah, I've already used the formula. So that will be whole square. Yeah. So this is going to be 210, that is 44100, and this is going to be 55 square. 55 square is 3025. So the difference is going to be 41075. So this is clearly an odd number divisible by 5. That means option number 2 is going to be correct in this case. So the first one to get this correct was Saundarya. Absolutely. So let's now move on to the 30th question. We are halfway through. So we have 30 more questions to go. So we have to be pretty fast. We have just around 1 hour, 25 minutes more.
It's a mark to correction to. I don't know. When I thought of it, if it goes, I don't know whether it is fine or not. Maybe they should come in one line. Okay.
Okay. So in a class of 175 students, the following data shows the number of students opting one or more subjects. Mathematics is 100, physics 70, chemistry 40. Maths and physics is 30, maths and chemistry is 28, physics and chemistry is 23. All of them is going to be 18. So whenever such a problem comes, it is best solved by making Venn diagrams, and we normally start filling from that position where there is a maximum number of overlap. Okay, so let us consider this to be your maths, physics, chemistry. Maximum overlap happens here 18. Okay, now maths and physics was 30, so this has to be 12. Maths and chemistry was 28, so this has to be 10. And physics and chemistry was 23, so this has to be 5. Altogether in maths there were 100, so we have already accounted for 40, so that's going to be 60 over here. Okay, now this actually answers the question, because the question is asking the number of students who have opted for maths alone. So maths alone has to be 60. Option number 3 is correct. So well within 1 minute. Absolutely correct. The first one to give this answer was Sanjana. Oh, I'm so sorry. Saundarya. Great. So guys, moving on to the next one, which is question number 31. And again, this is a super simple question. Consider the question solved.
Is it necessary to write? Okay. Excellent.
All right, so total number of proper subsets, we know that is going to be 2 to the power, the number of elements in the set minus 1. So 2 to the power 4 minus 1, that's 15. This is a no-brainer question, so absolutely correct. So option number 3 is the right option in this case. Let's move on to the next one, question number 32. Guys, remember we have 28 questions more to go.
It seems 0.1 and MS3. I thought this should be like this. It would be like 0.1. Boiling point 5.
No.
SD and CS3 are small. Or we could say font size. No?
This is not multiplication sign. This is 26.25. Read it like that. Yes, anyone? Okay, so mean is quite clear. Mean is going to be 6 plus 7 plus 10 plus 12 plus 13 plus 4 plus 8 plus 12 divided by total number of data, which is going to be 8 in number. So if you add this up, it's going to be 13, 23, 35, 48, 48, and 58, uh, 68, 72. 72 by 8, which is going to be 9. So these two are ruled out. Okay. Now variance is nothing but summation of mod of xi minus x bar square by total number of data, right? So let's start with the 6. 6 minus 9. 6 minus 9 is 3. 3 whole square is going to be 9. And this is going to be 4. This is going to be 1. Again, this is going to be 9. This is going to be 16. From 5. This is going to be 25. Again, from 8 is going to be 1. And again, it's going to be 9. So whole divided by 8. Okay, let's add this up. So 13, 14, and 14 plus 9, 23. 23 is 39. 39, and this is going to be 64. 64 plus 10 is going to be 74. 74 by 8. Is that what you're getting? 74 by 8? Seventy-four by 8 should be approximately 9.25. That means none of the options are coming out to be correct, right? None of the options are there. Yeah, this root should not have been there actually. Yeah. Then option number 2 would be correct. Anyway, this is a doubtful question. So I'll move on to the next one. Question number 33. No, they clearly asked about variance, not standard deviation. So there must have been a typing error. Don't worry much about that. Okay. So your A is clearly on the y-axis. B is your origin. And C is A comma 0. So the medians AD, this is your median AD, and BE, they are perpendicular to each other, right? So the slope of AD, it's very clear from the diagram that the slope of AD will be minus B by minus 2B by A. Okay. And this point is going to be A by 2 comma B by 2. So slope of BE is going to be B by A. So minus 2B square is equal to negative A square. So 2B square is equal to A square, which means A is equal to plus minus root 2B. Option number 4 becomes the right option. An easy question. Let's move on to the 34th question. Let A and B be non-zero reals such that A is not equal to B. Then the equation of a line passing through the origin and the point of intersection of these two lines. All right. So if you have to find a line which is passing through the intersection of these two lines, it's better to start with the, I think this is y, by mistake it has written x. It's better to take the concept of family of lines in this case. Okay. And now it is passing through origin, means origin would satisfy this. So if you put the value of x and y both as 0, you get lambda value as -1. Okay. So the moment you put lambda value as -1, you get something like this. Okay. Equal to 0, which is x times 1 by x times a minus b plus y times 1 by b minus 1 by a is going to be 0. So x minus y is going to be 0, which is going to be option number 3. That's correct. Okay. So guys, whenever they talk about point of intersection of lines, it's better to take the approach of family of lines. That would be very, very helpful in this regard. Let's move on to the 35th question. A straight line meets the coordinate axes at A and B so that the centroid of the triangle OAB is 1, 2. Then the equation of the line AB is. Okay, so that's a pretty simple question. So OAB, okay, this is the triangle and the centroid is 1, 2. So let's say this coordinate is 0, B, this is A, 0. So A by 3 is going to be 1, so A is going to be 3. And B by 3 is going to be 2, so B is going to be 6. So x by 3 plus y by 6 is going to be the 1. That's 2x plus y is equal to 6. Option number 2 is correct. Absolutely. Again, Vaishnavi was the first one to get this right. Great, good speed. Let's now talk about the next question. That's question number 36. The direction ratio of which of the line is perpendicular to the two lines? Okay. So the best way to solve this is start checking your points. Else you can say we have to solve these two equations. Okay. And if you use your cross multiplication method, that will give you 6 minus 2, which is going to be 4. And this is going to be 1 plus 4, which is going to be 5. And this is going to be 4 plus 4 minus 3, which is going to be 7. So 4, 5, 7 is the one which is going to be your right answer, option number 1. Well done. Next is your question number 37. A line makes an angle of 45, 60 with the positive direction of x and y axis. With the positive direction of z, the line makes which of the following angles? These are all time-saving questions. So let's be very fast. Try to solve this within 10 to 15 seconds, not more than that. Okay, so we know L square plus M square plus N square has to be 1. So cos square 45 is half. Cos square 60 is going to be 1/4. Right? So N square is going to be 1 minus 3/4. That's going to be 1/4 again. So N is plus minus half. That means if let's say the angle is gamma, gamma is plus minus half. So gamma may be 60 degrees and 120 degrees. Okay, so option number 3 becomes the right option. But wait a second, they're asking with the positive direction of z-axis, so it has to be 60 degrees. So option number 1 is correct. So this has to be dropped off. This has to be dropped off. Yes, 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 yes. So now let's move on to the next one, which is question number 38. And after this question, we'll take a 5 minutes of break and resume with the remaining 22 questions. Find the number of solutions for this equation. Okay. Three solutions. Okay, so let's discuss this. Now, if I say my cot of x is positive, that means my x should lie either in the first quadrant or in the third quadrant, right? If that happens, I would be seeing an equation of this nature, okay? Which clearly implies that I would get something like this, which is not possible, okay? Because we know that cosec x belongs to the interval are minus 1 to 1, right? In other words, my cortex cannot be positive, it has to be negative, right? If it has to be negative, that means my cortex is negative, means X has to be either in the second quadrant or in the fourth quadrant, right? So in that case, I would get something like this, which means minus 2 cot X is equal to 1 by sine X, which means minus 2 cos X by sine X is equal to 1 by sine X. And of course, we know sine X cannot be 0 because if it does, the equation should not hold true itself. So cos X should be negative half. Now in the second and the fourth quadrant, only possibility that you can get as a negative half when your angle is 2 pi by 3. So this is the only solution. So you'll have one solution as your answer, which is option number 2 is correct. Okay. Is that fine? So guys, here we'll take a break for 5 minutes. Okay. And we'll resume with more problems. Is that fine? All right. Thank you. We'll exactly meet at 5:25. All right, so welcome back. So let's move on to the next question, which is your question number 39 for the day. So it is a pretty simple question based on trigonometry, and you can always choose a special value of x to solve such questions. Okay, yeah, so here you can actually simplify as well. For example, numerator, you can simplify it as 2 cos 2x into sine x divided by negative cos 2x. So basically it gives you negative 2 sine x. That's option number 1, that's correct. Okay. All right, next moving on to the question number 40. In a triangle ABC, find the value of cosec A times sine B cos C plus cos B sine C. In a triangle ABC, and again, I think this is not more than a 10-second question. Right? Absolutely. So this is going to be cosec of sine B plus C. And we know in a triangle sine B plus C is going to be sine A itself, and you get the answer as 1. Again, these are just 10 5 seconds questions, not more than that. So let's move on to the next one. That's question number 41. No, Ritik, it would be negative 2 sine x because sine square x minus cos square x is negative cos 2x. So given two vectors, I cap minus j cap and I cap minus 2j cap, the unit vector coplanar with the two given vectors and perpendicular to I minus j. Okay. Again, the best way to solve this is see which of the options are going to meet your requirement. Right? So the first one, of course, meets your requirement, but the second one doesn't. But there's a possibility of plus minus both meeting the requirement over here. So we can say option number 3 will be the best option to go for. Okay? Because there can be two possible vectors which are coplanar to this vector and perpendicular to this one. Okay? Other way to solve this problem is we have to consider a vector which is of the form lambda times I minus j plus mu times I minus 2j. Okay? And use the fact that, let's say I take I common, so I have lambda plus mu plus j minus lambda minus 2 mu. So first of all, we can use the fact that lambda plus mu plus lambda minus 2 mu will be equal to 0 because the dot product of this with this should give you 0. Right? Okay. So that brings you to the fact that 2 lambda minus mu is equal to 0. Oh, sorry. There's a negative sign here as well. Something. One second. Plus. So this will be plus sign, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in this case, and this would be j is negative lambda. Yeah. Yeah. So this will give me 2 lambda plus 3 mu equal to 0. And next thing is that we know that this vector has to be a unit vector. So lambda plus mu square, okay, and lambda plus 2 mu square should be equal to 1. Right? Again, this will lead me to two different equations, but this would be a lengthy approach because it's much faster to actually take up your vectors and check the dot product with I minus j to be 0. And of course, it should have a unit of, I should have a magnitude of unity. So third is the most exhaustive option among all the three options. In fact, 2 is not correct. So I would go for option number 3. Next, if ABC are three non-zero vectors such that each one of them are perpendicular to the sum of the other two, then what is the value of mod A plus B plus C square? So this is question number 42 for you. Okay. So if each one is, guys, can you see my screen? Yeah. If each is perpendicular to the sum of the other two, that means this is 0. That means this is 0. And that means this is 0. Okay, if you add them, you get 2a dot b, b dot c, c dot a to be 0. Right? And we all know that mod of a plus b plus c square is going to be mod a square, mod b square, mod c square, plus 2 times this, which is going to be 0 itself. And hence the option number A exactly matches with our requirement. Yes, so absolutely correct. Vaishnavi, Sanjana, Saundarya, option A is correct. Option 1 is correct. In fact, let's move on quickly without wasting much time to question number 43. The slant height of a cone is fixed at 7 centimeter. If the rate of increase of its height is 0.3 centimeter per second, then the rate of increase of its volume when its height is 4 centimeter is. Okay, let's discuss this quickly. So volume of this cone would be 1/3 pi r square h. Okay, And I can actually write my, we know that slant height, h and r, we can write r square as l square minus h square. So I can write this as l square minus h square times h. Okay, and the slant height is fixed. Slant height is going to be 7. So volume is going to be 1/3. This is going to be 7 square, which is 49 minus h square into h, which is clearly 49h minus h cube. Now, if you want your volume rate of increase, we just have to differentiate both sides with respect to t. That's going to be 1/3 pi 49 dh by dt minus 3h square dh by dt. Okay, so your dh by dt is 0.3. That's the rate at which the height is increasing, and you want it at a height of 4 centimeters, so you can just use hs4. Okay, so that's going to be 0.1 pi, and this is 49 minus 48. That's going to be pi by 10 centimeter cube per second. So I think option number 4 is correct in this case. Absolutely. Let's talk about the next question, which is your question number 44. If s square is at square plus 2bt plus c, then the acceleration is, okay, Sai has given the response. All right, so let's discuss this. So we have been given that s square is this. So the first operation that we can do is we can differentiate both sides with respect to time. So that will give you this, right? In other words, you can drop the factor of 2 from both the sides. You'll get this expression, right? So ds by dt is going to be at plus b by s. Let's find the double derivative of s with respect to t, and that would be s times a minus at plus b ds by dt divided by s square, right? Now ds by dt itself is at plus b by s. Okay, so in that case, if I, okay, you have an s square down as well, I'm sorry, s square, yeah. So in that case, if I simplify this, I will get as square minus at plus b the whole square by s cube. Correct? And as square will be nothing but a square t square plus 2abt plus ac. And when you subtract the square of this term, that means you're subtracting this. So this will go off, this will go off, leaving you with ac minus b square by s cube, which clearly states that it is proportional to 1 by s cube. So it is independent. This is a constant independent of time. So it is going to be proportional to 1 by s cube, inversely proportional to 1 by s cube. So option number 4 is going to be the right option. Absolutely. So the first one to answer this question correctly is Saimir. Let's continue with this momentum and try to solve the next one, which is question number 45. Stereotypical question from rate measurer. So we have a situation like this where there's a ladder of 5-meter length leaning against, and this bottom of the ladder is slipping away at the rate of 2 meters per second. That means dx by dt is 2. Okay. So we know this x square plus y square is going to be 25. So 2x dx by dt plus 2y dy by dt is going to be 0. So they're asking you what is the decrease of the height at the instant when the ladder is 4 meters. So at the instant when this is 4, this has to be 3. So we'll put the values over here. So 2 into 4 dx by dt is 2. In fact, I could have easily dropped the factor of 2. Unnecessarily, we are writing it. And y is going to be 3 dy by dt. So dy by dt is going to be negative of 8 by 3 meters per second, suggesting that there is a fall in the value. And hence, since there's already a word decreasing mentioned over here, option number 2 is going to be the right option. Well done. Next, let's talk about question number 46. Yes. Yes. Yes, guys. Any response for question number 46? Okay, Saundarya. Anybody else? So let's quickly solve this. First of all, we'd like to solve these two curves simultaneously to see where do they intersect. So y square could be replaced with 2x square by a whole square is equal to 4ax, which means 4x cube, 4x to the power 4 is equal to 4a cube x, right? Which clearly implies x could be 0 or x could be a. If x is 0, that means they both meet either at 0 comma 0 or at a comma 2a. Okay. So let's see what happens at 0 comma 0. So when you find the dy by dx for both the curves, so 2y dy by dx is equal to 4a. So for this point, dy by dx becomes 4a by 2y, correct? Similarly, in this case, dy by dx becomes 4x by a, correct? Okay. Now, in this case, we'll realize that this goes to infinity, right? And as x tends to 0, and this tends to 0, correct? So this point, the curve is meeting at, in fact, we can check from the diagram as well. At this point, both the curves are meeting at right angles to each other. As you can see, this is the tangent to the curve ay is equal to 2x square. And this is the tangent to the curve. This is the tangent to the curve y square is equal to 4x. So this has to be 90 degrees. Okay, so this cannot be your any one of the options. So we have to check at the other point a comma 2a. So at a comma 2a, ma will be nothing but 4a by 4a, which is going to be 1. And here it will be 4a by a, which is going to be 4. So m2 is going to be 4. So the angle between the tangents at the point a comma 2a would be m1 minus m2 by 1 plus m1 m2. And that is going to be tan inverse of, right? You can take the modulus of this angle of intersection, because we normally take the acute angle of the point of intersection. So this is going to be 1 minus 4, that's 3 by 5. Okay, so tan inverse 3 by 5 is going to be the answer in this case. So which is option number 2. Is that fine? Clear? Let's move on to the next one, which is question number 47. The area bounded by the curve y equal to x cube, the x-axis, and the ordinates at the point x equal to -2 and x equal to 1. Yeah, pretty simple question. So x cube This is the graph. And you want to find out the area trapped between -2 and 1. Okay. So in case of -2 to 0, you would actually be integrating negative x cube. And from 0 to 1, you will be integrating x cube. So this will give you negative x to the power 4 by 4 and x to the power 4 by 4. So this is going to be 1/4. And this is going to be plus 16 by 4. So that's so answer will be 17 by 4, which is option number D or option number 4. When they say area, you have to be calculating the absolute value of this integrals. Next, question number 48. The area in square units bounded by the normal at 1, 2 to the parabola y square is equal to 4x, the x-axis, and the curve. So let's quickly draw the diagram for this particular situation. So we have a parabola y square is equal to 4x. And we are drawing a normal at a point 1, 2 like this. So they are mainly concerned with the area of this part. So this is the area that we are actually looking out for. So at 1, 2, if I draw the equation of a normal, we know that 1, 2 is basically corresponding to a point t equal to 1. Correct? So I'll use the ready-made formula that we know, y plus tx is equal to 2at plus at cube, and a is 1 over here. So that will give me x plus y is equal to 3. So this is going to be my normal. Correct? So it's better to solve this problem by choosing horizontal strips. So x for this point will be 3 minus y. X for this point will be y square by 4. So the difference in their x would be this, and you just need to integrate this from 0 to 2. So that would give me 3y minus y square by 2 minus y cube by 12. Okay, from 0 to 2, that gives you 6 minus 2 minus 8 by 12. That's a 4 minus 2 by 3. And if I'm not wrong, that's 10 by 3 units. 10 by 3 is going to be option number 1. Exactly, option number 1. All right. So let's move on to the 49th question. The area bounded by cos x and sin x between 0 to pi by 2 is. So we need to figure out this area. Okay. So as you can see, the area would be nothing but the area from 0 to pi by 4 of cos x minus sin x curve. Because cos x would be higher in value than sin x in the interval 0 to pi by 4. Correct? So integral of cos x is going to be sin x, and integral of sin x is going to be negative cos x. So it's going to be this from pi by 4 to 0. Right? So that's going to give me root 2 minus 0 plus 1. That's going to be root 2 minus 1 square units. And that's option number 1 that is correct. So never hesitate in making the curve, because that actually gives you a clear-cut idea which curve is above the other, which curve is below the other. And then you can make a differential strip and find out the area in the desired interval. Okay. So let's make a half century now. Let's move on to the question number 50. The area in square units of the region bounded between y square is equal to 9x and y is equal to 3x. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's check this. So you just have to integrate a differential strip chosen over here. So y at the top is 3 root x, y at the bottom is 3x. We just need to integrate this from 0 to 1. So 3 times, this will be x to the power 3 by 2 into 2 by 3 minus x square by 2 from 0 to 1. That gives you 2 by 3 minus half. That's 4 minus 3, 1/6. So your answer is going to be half square units. Half square units. Okay. Now guys, this is a case which comes very, very regularly. So normally there is a ready-made formula which says that area between y square is equal to 4ax and y is equal to mx is 8a square by 3m square units. So if you remember this formula, you really save a lot of time in this question. So this is a very, very specific formula only meant to find the area between the curve y square is equal to 4x and y is equal to mx. So in the present question, my a was actually 9 by 4. So 8 into 9 by 4 whole square by 3 into m square. M square is going to be 3 square. Correct? So if you solve this, it is going to be 8 into 9 by 4 into 4 into 3 square into 3. So this is going to get cancelled off. This is going to be 2. And this is going to be again a 2. Let me just rewrite this again. I think I have messed this up. Yeah. Yeah. So it's 8 into 81 by 16 into 27. So that's going to be 2. And this is going to be no, this is already going to be 3m square. No, I'm sorry. This is going to be 3m cube. Not 3m square, 3m cube. So 3m cube will give me 81. So that would get cancelled, giving you the answer as half. Yeah, so small change. The formula is 8a square by 3m cube. Anyways, this is a very, very specific formula. So even if you don't know it, that's fine. That's only meant for the case of a parabola y square is equal to 4ax and the line y is equal to mx. Next is the question on binomial theorem. This is question number 51. Hello Shantanu, how are you? Hope your exams went well, the board exams. Yes, so in this case, just to save our efforts, First of all, we'll pull out a 2 to the power 7 out, and we'll start referring to this expression as a. Okay, so it's 1 by 1 plus a to the power of 7 minus 1 minus a to the power of 7. So if you expand this expression, we get 1 plus, okay, now let's not write everything because some of the terms are going to get cancelled off. So 1 plus 7a, then 7c2, that's going to be 21a square, then a 7c3, which is 35a cube. Okay, 7c4, which is 35a to the power 4, then 21a to the power 5, then 7a to the power 6 plus a to the power 7. And this term will give me 1 minus 7a plus 21a square minus 35a cube plus 35a to the power 4 minus 21a to the power 5 minus 7a to the power 6 plus a to the power 7. And when you finally subtract it, you're going to get 7a, 35a cube, 21a to the power 5, and 7. Oh, sorry, this is plus and this is minus. And a to the power 7 twice up. And outside we already have 2 to the power 7 and a. So one of the a's will lose off. So we'll have a to the power 6 as the highest degree term. A to the power 6 will be the highest degree term. That means 3a plus 1 to the power 3 will come up. And this will lead to a polynomial of degree 3. This will lead me to a polynomial of degree 3. So we don't have to write everything here. We have to be carefully selecting out the terms which we need to write. And of course, use of this made our task easier. Is that fine? So option number 4 becomes the right option in this case. So guys, we could still not cover up 9 more questions, and I'll be sending you on the group to solve it. Okay. So we'll end this session now. Hope to see you again tomorrow with the session on JEE Main problem solving. Thank you everyone for coming online. Over and out from Centum Academy. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Take care.